Good evening, friends. We are live here with Ghostlight RPGs. We're a collective of theater artists who are keeping the lamp lit by playing role-playing games, even while still so many theaters are dark. Maybe not all the Broadway theaters, but a lot of regional theaters. Hi, I'm Graham Ward. I'm going to be your lore master tonight. That's lower and uppercase L. The lore master is the game master of the One Ring role-playing game. We're playing the second edition, which is published, or soon to be published, by Free League Publishing. They're an awesome company. They do games like Tales of the Loop and Kids on what's the other one? Things from the Flood. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the other one in Tales from the Loop. Yeah.
Very cool. Simba Room and a number of other cool role-playing games. So they did a Kickstarter for this game earlier this year, I believe, and we are playing. They were very kind to send us the alpha PDF, which has a preview of the rules. Of course, backers all got that, so we're enjoying the privileges of being backers here, and we're going to be playing a little scenario straight out of Tolkien and Middle Earth, and we're really jazzed about it. So let's introduce ourselves. We can go around. Anyone having like the best day ever and want to start? That was the worst way to invite someone to introduce themselves.
I will volunteer. Oh,
okay,
no,
go ahead.
Justin,
go ahead, Ted.
I leaped in front of you.
No, it's good.
I had a pretty good day. I just got back from Acadia National Park, which at one point, Kristen, who previously appeared on Contraband, and I were out there. We kayaked along a lake and stepped off in an unexplored area that was seriously straight out of Tolkien, which was the best possible preparation I could have had. There were like toadstools all over the place. We luckily didn't get killed by any Urukai or anything, but that's nothing to do with me introducing myself. Hi, I'm Ted Bushman. I will be playing Lindir Boronwe tonight, and I'll be trying my best at doing a very posh English accent.
Excellent. Thank you, Ted. Let's jump to Emma.
Hello, my name is Emma. My pronouns are she, her, and I did not have a very good day, which is why I'm so happy to be here. I will be playing Elonara Umerora, and I am going to be an elven warden of Linden.
Yes. Thank you so much. I hope that this is the beginning of the best part of your day.
It already is.
Good. All right, let's hear from Jean.
Hi, everybody. I am Jean, pronouns she, her. I am playing Rowan Brockhouse, a hobbit of the Shire, who is a treasure hunter. And I, like Ted, I'm going to be trying my best at not a high British accent, but something common.
Wonderful. Okay, and
Is
Justin.
this Jane's Ghostlight debut?
It is!
Yes!
Jane's first time on Ghostlight.
Long awaited by
Let's
me.
give some love.
Amazing, yeah.
So excited to be joining you all finally.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin. My pronouns are he, him. Tonight, well, first of all, I had a pretty okay day. Pretty okay. The weather is gorgeous. It's like autumn is coming, autumn is here, and I welcomed it with open arms. Autumn only lasts like 2 weeks in Missouri because we get cold weather way too fast, or the hot weather comes back, and we only get like beautiful weather here like 2 weeks. It's wild. I hate it. Anyway, tonight I am playing Cynewen. She, her. She's a ranger, and she's a badass, and that's it. I will also be trying some sort of dialect.
Well, yeah, we all try to be as, English or British at least as possible with Tolkien. He's like the most British person who ever lived. Anyway, thank you all so much. As I said, I'm Graham Ward. My pronouns are he, him. I had a pretty good day. I got a little bit of a rasp in my voice, but it will, as we said in our pre-show, it'll only help me once we get to any enemies or orcs or Cockney people. Just a joke. Okay, well, we've introduced ourselves a little bit and who will be playing. Let me quickly get us ready to introduce the story. So to begin, let me say, in terms of content warning, I think we're going to try and keep this squarely PG-13. We wouldn't want to be caught, making Tolkien roll in his grave by being too violent or too gratuitous with our appropriateness. But players have like safety communication tools at the ready just in case we need them. We'll all try and be kind of there for each other. And if I miss something, shout it out to me, and we'll redirect. Okay. I think that's everything. I do want to thank Ted Bushman, who is sitting right before me on my screen, for the beautiful music that we are listening to this moment. Ted composed this and another track for us for this stream. I can't thank you enough, Ted. It's just always such a pleasure to have your music playing, and especially with something that has such specific needs. Middle-earth is, I think, made into a living being by the music, and so you've done a really good job. Thank you so much.
Oh gosh, my pleasure. Great to be able to try and write something that could fit Middle-earth. So thanks, I'm excited.
Yeah, hire this man to compose music. He's so great. Okay, any other thank yous? I just want to thank all of you for being here and playing this. I know it's like a little bit of a, we're just going to be learning the game as we go, and sort of testing out these rules, seeing how it flows. I'm no expert by any means, so full permission to ask questions, and full permission to myself to spend a couple seconds looking them up in the PDF if I need to.
Of course.
Okay. Well, we'll begin our story tonight at the Inn of the Prancing Pony. This inn is situated in the town of Bree. Bree, for a long time, has been kind of a crossroads between the lands of Rhudaur and the Misty Mountains, where only some folk know that the halls of Elrond lie in Rivendell. Between there and the Shire, the land of simple, earthy folk, the salt of the earth, the hobbits. It also straddles a road called the Greenway, which long ago led from south to north, from Gondor, the realm of kings, all the way up to the ruins of the kingdom of Arnor, which no longer exists. Arnor's ruins lie both buried under the surface and in some places scattered in plain view throughout these lands of Bree. People know about the days of the king, when there was a king who ruled over them. But for now, they're content to be left alone and have, people turn away ruffians and people who are looking to cause trouble, have them turned away at the borders as much as possible. This is the town of Bree. Folk are simple but wise here. So, as you all find comfort at the Inn of the Prancing Pony, maybe smoking a pipe, maybe enjoying a pint of your favorite beverage, let's go around and give a sense of how everyone might see your character in this moment. If you're with another hero character, feel free to call that out and start up a little dialogue or conversation. If you're by yourself at the inn, let us know what the other characters see. Who would like to begin?
Sitting in the shadows on the porch, like in a rocking chair, is a woman with mud-covered armor, like very, light armor, but mud-caked boots, a pipe, and like some sort of like, I don't know, a hat, kind of covering the head, the face and whatnot, so every now and then just like a puff of smoke kind of comes out of the face, but very dark. You can see she has dark hair that kind of comes down to the shoulders, but very little features outside of that. She's cloaked in shadow. Okay,
and you're alone?
Alone, just sitting there rocking, taking in the sounds of the conversations around her.
Okay, as you're taking that conversation in, a rather round, red-nosed fellow kind of pops around the corner. This is Barlaman Butterbur Sr., who is an older man. He is not the keeper of the inn, but he has been here and kind of, moves around here and there when he can. He lives in a room like on the 3rd floor of the inn. And he comes by and he says, "Oh, excuse me, miss. I would like to ask you if there's anything else you'd be needing. Barley's a little busy tonight, but he'd be happy to cater to you if there's anything you need."
Perhaps a refill, but other than that, I'm fine in my silence. Thank you, stranger.
Of course, yes. And he kind of gives you one little look with a cocked eyebrow, as if he's kind of eyeing the mud that you've tracked in, and then he'll take your tankard and go refill it. Who would like to introduce their character next?
I think that as sort of in the middle of things, a little bit dwarfed by all of the people and hubbub all around her, you see a cheery hobbit with just a mug as big as her head, just smiling happily as she takes the tiniest sips. This is Rowan Brockhouse, very red and curly hair, very red cheeks, clear as to how she got her name after you meet her, but she's just taking everything in. She does wear a sort of dark armor and sort of a dark cloak, like a dark green, sort of greenish brown, everything that you might imagine that if she were not sitting in the direct middle of the room with tons of people surrounded, she might be able to slip into the shadows, but for now she's just out in the open enjoying all of the sights.
Great, yeah. You find yourself mostly ignored, although one or two of the local hobbits have been. These are hobbits who have the surname Underhill. They're in the inn and asking you questions about where you're from, what your business might be out here, trying to figure out if they have some kind of family relation. They find out that you're a Brockhouse, and they kind of exchange a glance "Oh, Brockhouses. They're not adventurous folk at all," but they're sort of trying to figure out clearly why a Brockhouse would be out here with a huge pint and a grin on her face.
Well, I just turned 33. This is sort of my big debut to the world. The Western Shire is so beautiful, and I love my home, but I dream of treasure and exciting feats. And my great uncle is very close friends with Bilbo Baggins, and they met when he came through years ago. He was actually at his 111st birthday party some years ago. So I grew up hearing stories of the great Bilbo Baggins, and I really just want to follow in his footsteps. And here I am in Bree, first time.
Bilbo Baggins, wasn't he the one who went mad and disappeared in a big flash?
Well, I wasn't at the party myself. I wasn't invited. I was a little too young at the time. I did just turn 33. But no. I'm sure that those are all blown out stories and rumors. The great Bilbo Baggins would never go mad and just run off.
Of course. What kind of hobbit would leave the Shire and be looking for things that were too big for their britches?
The Underhill says, and kind of glances over at his neighbor as if suggesting that you are very much a fish out of water, although you probably don't feel like one. Bree is a well known as a welcoming place. Strange as news from Bree is still a common expression out here, and pretty much anybody and anything might stroll in at any time. Speaking of which, there are currently, I believe, 2 elves in the inn. Would you like one of you to introduce yourself?
Go ahead, Emma.
I am Elonara Umerora. I imagine that we're sitting off to the side at our own table, drawing looks from various people around the tavern.
Totally.
Elonara is simply enjoying taking in all of this activity. It's very different from life back at home, and I think that it tickles her to see Rowan and the other little hobbits drinking their pints and chattering with each other joyfully.
I love it. I feel like we probably got sort of crowded in on one end of the dining room. We wanted to be by ourselves, but now there's all these people, but we're all kind of a head and shoulder above everyone, even the men, the humans. I went overboard and wrote like a sort of Tolkien-y introduction to how he might have described Lindir.
Can't wait.
It's simple. I promise not long. But sitting across from here is Lindir Voronwe. Tall he stands and fair, enough to rival the noblest of his kin. Yet in his dark eyes and crooked brows, one can sense the roiling of waves, a tearing between two extremes as a tide pulls at a shoreline. In the minds of most, elves are robed in luxury and possessed of a deep peace. Lindir has neither. Their slender clothing is emblazoned with the symbols of their people, but these materials are simple and the workmanship likely done in the wilderness. And in place of peace, there is a question, a moon wreathed in cloud.
That was very Tolkien, if I may say so.
Yes, thank you.
Tall he stands and fair, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. But he probably like leans over to Elonara and as they're eating, he sort of grumbles, "How are you enjoying the pheasant?"
It is pleasant.
Yes, one word for it. Sort of arrogantly eating his pheasant.
Yes. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The two of you are aware that some companies have been leaving. More and more common it has become for elf companies to pass through Woody End on their way out to the Grey Havens, continuing the kind of diaspora or homeward journey of the elves back to the Undying Lands. Some of the simple folk around here have been telling whisperings, scrutinizing, wondering what it is, why their songs play on the wind and the stars seem to shine clearer every night. Something in the land around you changes. You have an insight into what that is, but folk here are still suspicious. And you see one or two eyeing you as, with your keen elf ears, you hear them say, "Yes, the other night I heard that there were elves passing through Woody End, up the Green Sward and out to the Grey Havens. Terrible folk they are, capable of anything."
I turn to Lindir and I murmur, "Well, they're not wrong."
Let's hope we don't make any trouble for ourselves. We'll just, I'm sure no one can tell that we're from elsewhere.
It is at that point that the door to this common room slams open, and coming through, you can see a kind of shrouded figure wearing very, very soiled robes that are torn. You can see mud, both dry and wet, sweat dripping down off the brow as the person kind of totters one direction and then another and collapses onto a chair at the bar. A whole, bunch of people in the crowd. "Oh, what is it? What could this be? Barney, come in here and sort this man out." And the figure looks up and you see a kind of round-featured face. Probably the most noticeable thing right off the bat is that there is a tattoo on the face of a scorpion. And this figure has kind of large, like chestnut-colored eyes and pretty deep brown skin. And clearly their gear is not from around here. And they look up, and did anyone say they were at the bar? Trying to see if anyone's nearby. So okay, if no one is near, you'll see them kind of look up and gasp, "Coming, they are!" And as they kind of wheeze, their body begins to fade, and the person disappears, leaving nothing but clothing kind of hanging as if around an invisible mannequin. And then you hear coughing begin as the body again comes into view. The hair dripping with sweat reappears, and they're breathing. And as they breathe, you can see they're fading in and out of this kind of ethereal state. People are now springing out of their seats and running away.
Is there any way to assess what is happening to this person?
Yes, you have shadow lore, if I'm not mistaken.
I do.
Okay. So you would know that when someone is in possession of either maybe perhaps a ring or other magical item that was made for immortals, humans and hobbits tend to it affects them in different ways. For example, if someone were to be holding one of the great elven rings, which to your knowledge have disappeared from memory, then they might disappear. Another way that this might be done is with some kind of curse given by a wraith. So there are certain spells that a wraith might cast upon a blade or put into a poison that can cause someone to fade.
I'm going to say to Lindir, he looks to have been touched by shadow.
I think Lindir has probably like not even been looking, like assuming this is some like stupid bar fight or something. but looks back and says, "You think so?"
Either that or he is in possession of something powerful.
Just wander in this small town. Should we interfere? Should we do something?
I think so.
Through the crowd, as the crowd kind of moves away from this person, Cynewen just stands confidently and strides over to them, kneeling, looking them in their eyes if she can. Who is coming, stranger?
So again, these like doe chestnut eyes look at you, seem to perceive you, and then the face just kind of fades out, and you just see an empty hood in front of you. And then again, as they wheeze and breathe, the face reappears, making that kind of scorpion tattoo that's on the face reappear. And he says, in very broken Westron, "Interpreter, I was brought along, and they are coming. The Haradrim."
Do I know that name?
I think you certainly would know that Harad is a realm that lies far to the south. It literally means like South Place, okay. And very, very few folk go there. Clearly, they don't come up here either.
How far? Where did you come from?
In the forest, somewhere, some river stream. Boat was beached. And then again they fade. Can't seem to quite get this full sentence out.
Can I tell if anybody else, like these elves at the, in the room, are also... Everybody's kind of scattered for the most part, right? Except
yeah, I would say the five of you are definitely among the few people remaining in the room.
I think maybe behind Cynewen, you suddenly feel a presence right behind you as Lindir comes close and sort of reaches out to the man and says, "Rod, it's quite far from you, and I think you may be confused with your geography." Reaches out, grabs, just touches his face very lightly to try and push the head back and see the tattoo and see if he can read and understand what it might mean. I can use my lore master thing if that's required or whatever.
Yeah, great. Go ahead and make a check. Let's see,
okay.
Or a test, I think we call it.
Not lore master. You're the lore master. I just have a lore skill.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll your lore.
Okay, great.
So whenever we do a test like this, just for those watching and also for our benefit as we're reminding ourselves how this works, you're going to roll the feat die, which is a d12. And then for any number of ranks that you might have, you add a d6 for each rank. And you'll roll all of that and total whatever it is that you've rolled. If you get an 11 or 12, those are special results. If you, let's see, and if you're favored in that skill, then you would roll 2d12s and keep the higher or better result.
So I'm favored in lore. I've got these 2d12s, which I'm going to roll.
Excellent.
The better result. I've got a 10, which is the great. And then I have 3 dice, 3 d6s, because that's how many skill dice I have in it. So we'll roll those 3 as well. So I add the value of those up. So that will be that'll be 11 plus 10. So that's a 21. And my target number for wits is 15.
Very nice. Okay, so you succeed. Now, did you roll any 6s on the d6s?
I rolled a single d6.
Okay, so that represents a kind of extraordinary success of some kind. The more 6s you get, the more extraordinary your success becomes. But in this case, you recognize that this tattoo is not just an image. It's like a decorative, maybe like a family or clan symbol, but it also marks this person as a scout and interpreter. Whatever your kind of heraldic knowledge would have, for some reason, probably by virtue of your long age, you've come across these kinds of marks before. And it is definitely from the realm of Harad. And it is very strange that they would be this far north.
Yes, strange indeed. I'll probably turn and call Elonara from and say, "Come observe this man. Your skills are far greater than mine in the observing of wounds. And please,
I know.
Come here."
She's already there. She would silently appear next to you. You turn and she's there. And I want to see if I can try to heal this person if they're wounded, like you said, maybe by a wraith or.
Yeah. So you do right off the bat, as you're now getting in proximity, you see that there is a wound. Unfortunately, you think as they look at you and their face fades into shadow and becomes invisible and then reappears with a wheeze, you think that it is too late for you to heal them.
I want to.
They're in the process of becoming a lesser wraith. Not necessarily dangerous, but certainly dreadful for the person experiencing it.
I want to whisper in Lindir's ear, "It is too late to save this one. There is nothing we can do but prevent their further suffering."
Should we take them from this place, or?
If they are ready.
And as you say this, the face again reappears, and he just looks at you, almost at peace. You sense the pain, but sort of through this shadow can see the 2 elves before him. And he says, sorcerer coming."
Can I hold his face with my hand, the other side of his face, and can I put him out of his misery? I'm trying to think of a delicate way to say this. Can I help him pass peacefully?
You have mentioned it, and he heard you, and you see him nod, giving consent that this is what he would like.
I have a bow and a spear. I'm not sure if either of these tools are.
What about maybe you have a medicinal
that's what I was thinking.
You might be able to use.
I could use my healing stat as a way of helping him pass peacefully.
Yeah, that sounds very reasonable.
Okay. I will roll. I will roll to help him
and maybe I've stepped over to Cynewen and said, or the barkeep and said, "Can we find a private room for this person, to sort of get them out of the middle of this bar here?"
Do I see the barkeep anywhere?
You see the barkeep outside the window with a crowd of other people doing this, looking in.
I met what I needed. I rolled a 16.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, if you meet, you succeed. Did you roll any 6s?
I did not, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, you do manage to produce a combination of herbs from your pack, and putting them together, you give what would be a lethal dose of maybe it's a lethal dose of pain-killing herb, and it takes him about a minute, and he just falls asleep. And as he falls asleep, his body kind of reforms and becomes material, and he dies and leaves the corpse there.
And I close his eyes and say a little prayer for him.
While that's happening, Cynewen, noticing the people outside, Rowan is inside?
I think though, Rowan, a little bit scared, but really interested in seeing this through. This is the most exciting and adventurous thing she's probably ever witnessed. Has sort of ducked under the table, just sort of disappeared in the chaos of everybody running out, and snuck up to the bar to get a closer look at this man's face and what's going on with the elves and how they're helping. So I think Rowan's sort of peeking around from behind the bar, but.
Yeah, so hitherto undetected, but maybe now Cynewen notices the hobbit.
Yeah, Cynewen turns. And you, little one, do you work here?
No, sir. I'm just a traveler like the rest of you, I assume.
Do you... Well, never mind then. Cynewen will walk over to the crowd of people outside. All right. It's all done now.
It's all done. Everything all right in there, the barkeep says. Only it's because it's been a long time since anyone died in the pony. If that were happened under my watch, I would be most upset.
Understandable. Is there a place we can move this stranger that they could rest?
Certainly. There's a number of places in town where a healer and you could maybe take them to the storehouse. I'm sure there'd be room in there. If you'd like to stay in the building, I could provide a parlor. Of course, there's a matter of payment.
Do I have money?
So essentially the way money works in this is that you have a treasure rating. If your rating is 0, you got no money. If your rating is like 30, you live kind of a common lifestyle. You can afford basic things like that. Certainly a room at the inn wouldn't be too sore a blow. If you have anything above 30, then like you're good.
I will lean in to where only he can hear me and say, how about this? You allow this stranger into your parlor, and I won't spread the word that someone has died inside of it.
Oh my goodness, you terrible folk coming out from the wilds. We don't take well to threats in these parts. You and that stick-it-knot Strider coming around here all the time, stirring up trouble. All right, if you want a room and you won't breathe a word to anyone, then fine. I don't take very well to being extorted, but I suppose in this case I don't have much of a choice. I'll set you up with a room. Knob! And he starts like snapping his fingers over, and a little hobbit who was looking through the window kind of like pops over and says, "Oh, I'm coming, sir, I'm coming." And he sets you up in a little parlor. The man, who is Parliament Butterbur, literally doesn't stop talking from like the moment you make the request until he leaves you in the parlor. But he has Knob bring in like a little bed that is now, it looks very out of place in this like sitting parlor with the fireplace. They get a fire going and they allow you to lay the body out.
Yeah, when I grab the body, I kind of look back towards the elves, almost like, and give him a little bit of a come with me vibe.
Yeah, and all of this, by the way, is visible to Rowan.
I think Lindir will turn to Rowan, maybe while Cynewen is making this extortion, and we'll ask. Many of your kin fled behind that window. Why did you stay?
Well, sir. To be honest, I don't rightfully have a good answer other than this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me, and I just couldn't miss it.
I see. Well, if it be curiosity that drive you, I am certain that you will find no better subjects than the three of us. You may join us if you wish, at least for the moment.
I'd be honored.
Then come this way.
You'd follow along, run after.
I like her.
So you're all gathered in this parlor with the bed set up. Despite what you said to the owner of the inn, he is quite dead, unfortunately.
Right. Seeing Rowan come in with Lindir, looking over to Rowan, you wish to stay?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And then leaving that alone.
She spoke quite passionately. She could not be dissuaded by any of my methods.
Few can.
So, if what this stranger says is true, we have Haradrim. I would know how to say that.
Yeah. Haradrim.
Coming here. A sorcerer, perhaps?
Yes, he did say there was a sorcerer coming.
I would hope to ask you, my friends and I, we are both from, is this correct, Graham? Somewhat west of these lands?
Sure, absolutely.
I know that rangers like yourself are more the experts of these landscapes.
Yes, that's me, an expert of this landscape. Ask me anything you wish, and I can tell you.
Has there been word of sorcerers or fell doings or shadows?
You haven't heard anything, but you know, based on what he was describing as he died, he seemed to be referring to the Brandywine River, which you know flows through a little, a small ancient wood called the Old Forest.
It seems perhaps we might need to head west.
West along the road, and then you would at some point cut southward to the Old Forest, unless you were to go all the way to Brandywine Bridge and then follow the river on the far side. But he did mention coming through a forest and having beached or gone aground with some kind of boat.
And he mentioned the boat as I finish up what you just said.
Are there direct routes, if one were to attempt to come from as far distant as the south, to reach this place by boat?
Let's see. From the direct south, well, the Brandywine flows out into the sea. So yeah,
Okay.
Presumably a boat could come up the coast and try to go up the Brandywine. And it's reasonable. At some point, it would run aground because the Brandywine is not a very deep river.
No. That would be fell news indeed to have visitors from so far south. I cannot but imagine that their intentions would be ill.
Perhaps it's best we make haste. Cut this off before it gets worse.
Yes.
Together.
I will be traveling that way. I won't shun companions. She looks to Rowan. But I cannot protect you. I cannot promise to protect you.
Lindir just sort of looks a little askance at that, and like maybe like the traveling cloak just turns aside just a little bit to see like a long curved elven sword.
If we shall be traveling together, perhaps it is best that we become acquainted. I am Elonara, a Menora of Linden, and this is my companion, Lindir.
Yes, and Lindir also of Linden. And you, Ranger?
Cynewen.
Are you of the Dunedain?
Yep.
And you see like a little bit of a, this sort of sarcastic look around Lindir sort of changes a little bit, and sort of nods appreciatively and says, "Then it would be our privilege to be in your company."
Yeah, and let me just say that you would know, Cynewen. The elves of Linden are the folk who follow one of the leaders called Círdan, who's a very great, very ancient elf, known as a shipbuilder. And these elves have mostly left Middle-earth. There are some few that kind of wander the realm of Eriador, where their people once dwelt anciently. Kind of doing tours of saying goodbye, visiting places, visiting people, occasionally going to places like Rivendell, and then many of them boarding ships and sailing off to the Undying Lands. By that same token, the elves would know that the Dunedain are the descendants of Elendil himself, who was the king of all of these realms and a refugee from Numenor. They have lots of elven blood in them and live a very long time.
It's not often I see elves of Linden. I would be happy to have you at my side.
We have been, I have not seen as many elves from Linden as I would like either. I think it is, I'm sure that Elonara would not prefer that I say it, but I am somewhat displeased with our brethren for abandoning these lands.
It does not matter what I prefer.
Now, our friend here, we have learned somewhat of our lineages. Will you tell us of your own? Looking to Rowan.
Oh, Rowan looks quite flustered in all of this, and suddenly remembering just her hospitality and courtesy. She does a little courtesy, and lords and ladies, Rowan Brockhouse of the Western Shire. I don't mean to impose, and I'm sure you all are much more experienced and strong and brave and capable than I, but please, if it would not be too much trouble, I won't burden you. You don't need to protect me. I want to see the world. I want to find treasure. I grew up hearing stories of the great Bilbo Baggins, and if he could fight a dragon in the Misty Mountains, then why can't I follow whatever this scorpion man was and go south and see what there is to explore and uncover and discover. I'm quite small and I disappear into the shadows quite well, so you don't need to worry about me slowing you down, I promise.
I have no concern.
I think it's probably likely that one of you, maybe Elonara, has actually heard of Rowan. So the way, just for the audience to know, the way these characters are set up, they've gone on maybe like an adventure or two. So perhaps, I don't know, Rowan, did you have like a small treasure hunt that you accomplished somewhere in this area that perhaps word would have gotten through the elves to one of them?
Yeah, I think that there might have been she might have not kept it a very good secret, but I think that before reaching Bree, Rowan was able to very skillfully break into a well-guarded farmhouse, and a lot of apples went missing. Some other possessions might have snuck away as well, but there have been some farmers griping about disappearing bushels of apples and a spirit in the night. But among the hobbits, I think that you hear the name, that Rowan Brockhouse. This had to be her. Stole pies from all of the windows before they even cooled back when she was a child. So you might have heard her name flickering through that way.
Excellent.
It will be a comfort to have you with our party.
And since we are technically headed west, we might say, if we are stopped by others of your kin, that we are simply escorting you home, back to the Shire.
Before we go,
Cynewen remains quiet.
I would like to check the body before we go to see if there's anything on it that might give us a clue.
Yes.
Or aid us.
Yeah, sure. Rifling through pockets and folds of the cloak, you don't come across any weapons, strangely. They're not wearing any armor. However, you do find a note which is written in the tongue of Harad. I think it's unlikely that you speak that language, but if you felt like saying like, hey, no, I'm going to make a narrative choice that I do speak the Harad language. Okay. So the only one who would really have a chance of reading this would be someone else who speaks Harad. However, just sort of holding it with your elven intuition, you get the sense that it was written with great care from perhaps a loved one.
I believe this to be a treasured item. Does anyone here speak Harad?
I think it sounds like so far Cynewen was the only one who had a chance, but also I don't want to like force that on you, Justin. It's up to you, whatever you think. It's not going to derail us totally if you don't. So
I'm happy to. I was only because I was reacting earlier to the Harad, not exactly knowing who they were, but no, yeah, sure. I say I took a year. I learned a bit. Let me see.
And I hand it over.
Great. So scanning over the letter, you're able to piece enough of the story together. This was written by a spouse. You're not sure exactly all the details of their life, but this person was fleeing political persecution because they had opposed some kind of local leader in Harad, someone who had sprung up into power suddenly. And there's just the hint that it may be this or connected with this sorcerer that was mentioned. And you just get the sense of political turmoil. The spouse is writing the letter to say farewell and hope that they can be safe and that they'll follow them as soon as they can.
It seems that all is not right in Harad. Perhaps this stranger is a refugee fleeing for survival.
So not a servant of the sorcerer, but someone who opposed them.
Could be.
Well, as we all know, the kingdoms of men and mortals in general are prone to falling prey to seducers, false prophets, all manners of tyrants. So this may be yet another one of those, perhaps not inflicted with the shadow at all. And yet, this curse upon this person. Elonara, was it a wound, or does he carry something on him?
It was a wound, right, Graham? Right, Lord Master?
Yeah, he did have a wound, a pretty grievous wound in the abdomen. It probably killed him very slowly. He was able to travel, obviously, some miles with the wound, but he appeared to be traveling on foot, just based on the way he's soiled and weather worn.
Can we identify the nature of the wound? What type of weapon might have made it?
Some kind of blade. If someone would like to make a lore check, you could do so. Now, this is a decent situation to exemplify that if you want to help someone, the way you do that usually, I think, is by spending one hope point. Everyone has like a reservoir of hope, and usually you want to keep it fairly high, but occasionally you can spend hope and then it replenishes during rests. So you can spend one hope and then add dice to their roll, but you must be favored in that skill in order to help. So in this case, we're talking about lore.
I'm favored in lore and would be willing to spend a hope to help my companion, Lindir.
Very generous of you.
Yes. So would that be?
How many skill dice are you adding then to the roll?
If I'm adding an additional one for the hope, that would be 4.
Well, it would be the number of dice, I believe, that Elonara has in the training for her.
Oh, in lore? I have 3 in lore.
Woohoo!
Wow.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think you'll add 3 more d6s.
Oh my gosh. So I have 6 d6 on this, Laura? Okay, well, we'll see. Hopefully I don't screw it up.
So the hope is like it's a decent cost, but the benefit is very high. Yeah.
So I imagine it's sort of this moment where like these two elves are sort of working together, and there's like little bits of bickering that you notice between a lot, but there's this, you can tell they have a shorthand as well, and this sort of like, he'll step out of her way when she's clearly, knows what she's doing, and let's kind of butt in when he thinks that he's right about something. Anyway, so let's make the roll.
While they're doing that, Cynewen would go prep horses and
excellent
kind of get ready for the journey.
Okay, perfect.
Love it. Is Rowan hanging with us or going into the horses?
Rowan is watching this very intently. No offense to the Ranger, but
Great.
you don't meet elves every day.
So yeah, we're like crouching in like this room that's a little too small for us. So I rolled 14 plus 11, and then the D12 I rolled a 12. So I got the like critical success rune, 1-6, and so yeah, I think I succeeded by like 15 or some ridiculous amount.
Excellent.
So yes.
So by that token, as the two of you examine the wound, it becomes clear to both of you that this blade that created this wound was certainly ensorcelled in some way. It's hard to say exactly who might have done this, but it is certainly the work of servants of shadow. So it could be this sorcerer who was spoken of, but the first thought you have is a remembrance of the realm of Angmar, which was ruled by a witch king who was known for specializing in blades that were called Morgul blades, sorceress blades, and that they would kill or poison the soul of the person that they wounded.
I think as soon as they like, they're both talking and they're like, oh, but remember, Angmar on these Morgul blades. I think the second that Lindir realizes that this is the thing that they're saying, he immediately stops and says, "Are we being paranoid?"
No.
It seems. Why on earth would they come this far?
I don't know. But I trust our capabilities to understand the situation.
If it is truly this great, should we not return to Linton and try to find others? Do we really want to bring these strangers with us?
They are willing. And who are we to doubt them or try to control their actions?
And if we leave now, whoever it is may get away. Or finish whatever work they started. Well, I'm sorry that you have to, you happen to have been traveling with me when this happens.
It's not the worst time we've ever spent together.
Lindir will look at Rowan and say, "You didn't hear that." And sort of tromp out on his own, maybe like getting his like coat and things ready, getting them down from
And
pony.
Elonara winks at Rowan.
Just blush very, very deeply.
As you step outside, you see that near the stable, which is there's kind of a courtyard that opens up at the entrance of the inn. It has two like arms, and one of those arms contains a stable. And there out in front of the stable, you can see Cynewen holding like 3 ponies or horses, depending on what your intent is, and talking with this round, red-nosed innkeeper who is saying, "Well, honestly, if you'd like to stable your ponies here for any longer, I'm not sure we can accommodate them. We've got a lot of guests here this evening, and I'd be most obliged if you would take all of your possessions and leave as soon as possible."
This is the same guy from before?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Barlaman Butterbur.
Mr. Butterbur, I do apologize for my attitude before. I wasn't sure how you would take the news of a dead body, but rest assured, we will be getting out of your hair now, and you need not worry about me any further.
Oh, bless ourselves if you would leave our company. I mean, it's no offense. Of course, I wouldn't mean to throw out a paying customer, but seeing as you're not a paying customer, you only ordered one drink.
Right.
I think that
and
it'd be perfectly acceptable if you'd leave.
I think someone needs you in there.
You're right, I'm run off my feet. You just go now.
And he kind of trots off toward Nob the Hobbit, and they together go back into the inn.
And I'll bring the horses over.
So are these our horses?
I was going to ask.
Taken these horses?
Yeah, I think it's okay for us to assume that you've got horses. So then, yes, these would be they. And he seems eager. He's basically, without kicking you out, is kicking you out of the inn.
Right.
But for you, it suits your purpose because you're planning to leave anyway. So you saddle up the horses or ponies or whatever they might be. I think it's okay to think that there's either a spare or that Rowan has one, depending on your preference, Jean.
I think that I somehow finagled a pony on my way out to these lands.
Great. So as you begin your journey, you'll be heading, it sounds like you'll be heading westward along the road and then to cut south at some point. Now, it's up to you whether you want to do that at the river or you want to head into the old forest and look for clues there. That's kind of up to you. So we can even capture a bit of your conversation along the road if you want, discussing this.
Yeah, I imagine it appears that there are some hills in between Bree and the Old Forest. Simply, we can go north along the road for some time, a little bit west, and then head south into the forest itself.
The hills, you would know, are the Barrow Downs, ancient grave sites from the realm of Arnor. Many of them, especially Elonara would know that the barrows and the graves have mostly been corrupted by the influence of shadow, and they're known as very dangerous places for travelers.
To cross through those graves would be very dangerous for us travelers.
I believe it's best we stick to the road until we need to move farther south.
Great.
The question is, do we want to go into the forest, or would we rather stick to the river?
This stranger did mention going through the forest, did he not?
Yes.
So then,
Try.
into the forest we go.
I think so.
Looking towards Rowan. Try to keep up.
Don't need to worry about me, sir. Ma'am, sorry.
I think
she's used to being called sir a lot.
Awesome.
Lindir will probably like reach down. He's got this like 19 hands high red horse, and just like reaches all the way down to pat Rowan's horse and says, "You have a fine steed. What is their name?"
Butterbean.
Is that Butterbean or Bada Bing?
Butterbean. Butterbean.
Butterbean.
Love it.
A lovely horse. Lovely steed.
I don't know if you know this already, Jean, and you're a genius, but that is a very Bree pony sounding name. They love to combine food and plants in their naming.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Token scholars.
That's the
us.
back. That's the deep down many reads of Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Awesome. Okay, so on a journey, there actually is quite a bit of journeying like mechanisms in the game. It's like a whole type of phase of the game. The journey is, obviously a huge part of the adventure. So, while you're journeying, you'll each assume a role, depending on how you'd like to divvy things up. So you usually have a guide who's in charge of decisions on route, rest, and supplies. You have a hunter who's in charge of finding food, a lookout in charge of keeping watch, and a scout in charge of setting up camp and opening new trails if you ever have to go off-road, which usually you don't do a journey unless you're actually going off-road, which is why I wanted to know if you were going to stick to the road or whatever it be. So what do you think? Anyone leaning toward a particular role? Again, it's guide, hunter, lookout, scout.
I think I would be the guide, knowing this terrain, the area, and whatnot.
Certainly.
I can look out. I have awareness,
Very nice.
proficiency? Not proficiency. What is it called?
Favored.
Favored. Thank you.
I'm not the greatest at it, but I am a decent hunter, so I wouldn't mind gathering up some rabbits for us.
Which
Love
leaves
it.
me to be the scout. So I'm sort of keeping the camp and also helping with off trail, with finding other trails and places.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay. So you've set your path, which in this case is to leave the road. I assume you'll stay to the east side of the river so you can go into the forest. But you probably will fall short of actually venturing into Buckleberry, which is the town east of the Buckleberry Ferry, where there's a whole bunch of hobbits who live there. They do some boating, but they are not into uncanny folk. They would be probably would raise an alarm if elves and a ranger openly strode into their village. So it sounds like the route will cut south there, head into the Old Forest. Let's see. I think that Elonara would know that there's a small stream called the Withy Windle, which winds through the Old Forest and eventually connects back up to the Brandywine, or as the elves call it, the Barandwin.
Brandwin.
Makes me, man. Some of those little linguistic things are just so genius that it was called
beautiful.
the Barandwin River, and the hobbits called it the Brandywine River because it sounded close enough and was much more appealing to them.
It's like in Missouri how we have a Versailles, Missouri, but it's Versailles.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful. Yes, those touches are fabulous.
Okay.
So she's been telling me about this stream, and I've been sitting there looking at the map for an hour and half falling asleep. And I'm like, oh yes, I knew we were going to go there.
Of course you did.
So at this point, we will make some marching tests. As you head into the forest, you expect it'll be at least a full day traveling through the forest, potentially a day and a half, which means you will likely need to sleep or camp in the forest itself. It depends on what your background is, how much you've spent in these specific areas. I think it's unlikely that you've heard too many stories about the Old Forest. Of course, the elves would remember it at a time when it was connected to a whole ancient stretch of trees. Okay, so let us make our marching tests. The guide of the company first makes a roll for travel, if you would.
Okay, that's a D12, and then I have two ratings, so 2d6 added to that.
Yep, perfect. Okay. And are you favored or nothing?
I am not favored.
Okay.
I need to beat a 16.
And I could spend hope to help if I wanted.
Yeah, if you're favored in travel, then yes.
Okay, well, I'm not favored. I'm not helpful, so never mind. but in future actions, just checking.
Okay. And I add all three numbers together?
Yep.
Okay. 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 3 is 17, so that beats my 16.
Excellent. Very, very good roll. Okay, it's right on the money. If for any reason you get an 11 or 12, let me know on your D12s. Okay, so you succeed. You get through the first leg of your journey. You're in the forest. The thing that you notice as you're traveling through the forest is that the path doesn't look like it's been settled. You know how if you follow a game trail, you get the sense that animals all walk along this same kind of rill. It'll be the logical route through the terrain that animals have found over potentially years of wandering through. You eventually find the Withy Windle River, but you find that the paths look recent. And they don't look like they were made by things that walk. It's more like the trees moved aside and created a little lane for you to walk through. And it's almost that organized too. You'll kind of turn around a corner and suddenly you'll see, there's a rustle of the bushes, and this path, it's about 3.5 feet, very consistently opening up, leading you right to the place where you strike the river. And the river is flowing down into the center of the forest.
And I've been in the Old Forest before, and this is not normal.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say you'd have a ton of business in the Old Forest, so it's up to you, how much you want to have been here. I might have you, spend a hope if you want to be an expert on the Old Forest, but I think in all likelihood, maybe you've been in once or twice, but it's not, familiar terrain to you.
Okay, I misunderstood that earlier. Got it. Okay, well, yeah, I'll just, something's not... This is not normal. Do you have you ever seen anything like this? It's a bit of an unnatural path.
Perhaps the forest knows that we are on a greatly important mission.
Perhaps.
Okay, well, you follow the path along this Withy Windle stream, You go 3 miles, 6 miles, and as you're going, you're starting to feel very, very drowsy. There's something about the forest air. It's like there's no wind moving along it. The heat is starting to get so intense you feel like you've got wool over your faces as you're traveling. So I would love it if everyone would go ahead and make a let's first have someone roll a feat die, just one of the d12s.
I vote Rowan.
Awesome.
That is a 5.
Okay, great. That's just for my future reference.
Oh,
Mm.
mystery numbers.
Okay, so let's have each of you roll athletics. If you have another one of your skills that you think sounds better as you're trying to like toil through the heat and stuffiness of the forest, that feeling of claustrophobia, I'm totally open to it. I don't want to like completely dictate what you roll, but it'll be something representing that part of the journey.
Does anyone feel concerned about their athletics? I am favored and could spend hope to aid someone.
I definitely would need a little bit of help.
Yeah, well, I'll spend a hope to aid Rowan. And can I aid 2 individuals, or can I only do that once per sets of actions, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's usually once per scene, I believe.
Great. Then I'll aid you, which will give you 2 additional d6s.
How do I know if I have hope?
Oh, hope is under it's the center top of your character sheet. There's like a little diamond box for it.
It's right under heart, right?
Yeah.
Inside heart.
Yeah, the bottom right of heart. Yeah.
Okay, and that's just
I
the number of
spent
hope
1.
points I have for the game.
Yep.
And you'll refresh them when you sleep, just like in real
I'll
life.
give. Okay, in that case, I will reach out and give hope to Elonara. I'm also favored in athletics.
Great.
Thank you. So,
Heck yeah.
what do I roll then to add to my roll?
We're rolling, I think, athletics, unless you have another skill that you think is better.
Oh no, I rolled athletics and I got
I'm
a
sorry.
3. So what do I add now that
You add the number of skill dice that Justin has.
Oh, okay, 2. Add 2 d6 to that.
Thank you. Which is good because now I have a 10 total, which is still not like what it needs to be, but it's better than a 3.
A 10. Okay, and then what's your target number for strength?
16.
Ooh, okay. So you do not succeed. Do you want to kind of I need to quickly run to the bathroom. Can we role play this moment for a second and I'll be back in a sec?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck yeah. So how did everyone else roll on their athletics there?
Thanks only to your help. I just met my goal is an 18, and I rolled 3 4s and 2 3s. So
wow.
if I'm doing my math correctly, that is exactly what I needed, which is great because without that, I would have literally needed to roll a 12 and a 6, or a 12,
Amazing.
I guess. But
amazing. Yeah, so we're probably sort of like working together, like, I'm sort of helping you through these, like crazy, big roots and branches. Anyway.
The help is greatly appreciated, sir.
I think Elonara, I think her like flowy, beautiful clothing keeps getting stuck on branches. And it's like in her hair, and she's trying to be very gracious about it, but the more it happens, the more she starts to lose her cool, and she just is.
Yeah, Cynewen's trying to kind of brush the branches out of the way, but every now and then maybe like one kind of swings back, and actually it does more damage than she was intending.
I appreciate your help, stranger friend, but perhaps Lindir.
And Lindir will turn to Rowan and say, This is the reason that one does not wear one's court clothes while traveling.
I can certainly see the lack of practicality. Don't tell her I said that, though. I think she's very pretty.
So he'll well enough to help that. But yes, great. So we had 3 successes, Graham. but then Elonara's clothes were getting caught on branches and things. And you said it was hot also? It's being
Yeah,
hot and-
very hot.
Yes.
Fine. I won't even. Okay. Just keep going.
So Elonara, actually, as you, though you're shedding layers, you feel yourself getting very drowsy. So sleepy that like you feel like you can barely put another foot, one foot in front of the other.
We need to stop. I can't.
Yeah.
I need to lie down.
We're almost there. If we could just push forward a bit further.
And she's just curling up on the on the ground on some moss. I just did a power nap.
Who was our? I believe it's the lookout.
That was me.
That was Elonara.
Oh, that was you. Oh no. Okay. Well, unbeknownst to you, you have lain yourself at the foot of a very large willow tree. And you fall fast asleep. Like all of you notice that basically as soon as Elonara's head rests against the root of the tree, she's asleep.
Is this normal for her?
Well, falling asleep at important moments, yes, but not like reach out and sort of like, very gently sort of pat her on the cheek. Elonara, wake.
She seems not to wake. Rowan, you can hear on the breeze, there's kind of a flutter as the willow tree, the leaves and fronds, you see them drooping into the stream that's going by you, and they kind of do. And in that sound, you hear almost like a song or words, maybe a whisper or something. Sleep. The journey is weary. Lay your head down.
Do I like, am I alert to that, or is it more like an awareness of it?
You are aware of it, so you can certainly react any way you'd like, yeah. You're not like coming under the effect. You succeeded on your roll.
Do either of you hear that?
Hear what? She's
There's like it's still slapping Elonara.
What sounds to be whispering in the trees, and I haven't heard anything like it before, but I'm concerned that maybe what happens to Elonara isn't just tiredness.
I look to Lindir. Is there?
You said that the path we followed seemed unnatural to some degree, yes?
I did.
It seems that there may be something else unnatural about these woods, and I'm going to sort of look around. Are there any trees in particular that seem like they might be different than the others, or something that I would be looking for?
Let's see. In terms of your skills,
yeah, I could try awareness or lore or scan. I mean, I'm better at awareness or lore.
Yeah, I think either of those actually would probably work.
Or if you did want to do scan, I would certainly help with that. That's one that I am proficient. What is that? That's not the right word for
favored.
This game. Favored. I am favored in scanning, so I could help with my keen hobbit eyes.
Yeah, I'll say to Rowan, you seem to be your senses seem keener than mine. Will you point out to me what you were looking for?
Yes, of course. So if I am helping, you would add 3d6.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing! All right, so I'm rolling.
While they're out looking, I'm just slowly grabbing my Numerian axe, drawing it, and standing maybe over Elonara.
Right. So yeah, tipped from marginal success to very much success. I have a 21 out of 21 against the 15 that I need on scan.
Excellent. Looking around, you definitely notice that the Rowan tree, strangely, is moving. You can see some of the roots almost like someone uncrossing their legs. You see one of the roots kind of do over a fold of a root that was underneath it, and you can see the branches kind of leaning down and beginning now to touch Elonara's face.
Do I see that? Just you?
No.
Okay.
It seems to be
my back is to. I'm protecting her, but my back is to her.
And it's certainly subtle. It's not like the tree is like getting a face. You know what I mean? But
yeah, sure.
But it's as though it seems to be like hunching or cradling her.
I think Lindir will say, I think your axe could be of use here, and is going to sort of leap forward to try and grab her and like see if he can pull her out in time before the roots sort of encase her.
Yeah, you easily can. They're moving so slowly, and it's not like they were like completely wrapping around her. They were just like drifting toward her. The branches kind of lean down, but you scoop her up and kind of hold her. Do you want to stand back from the tree then?
Yeah, I think just taking enough steps back that we're not going to get found by them.
Awesome. Cynewen, your axe is particularly special. The Numenorians are your ancestors who came over from across the sea. They lived within sight of the Undying Lands before their kingdom was corrupted and swallowed up by the ocean. But this axe was gifted to you as an heirloom of maybe your house, passed down as they dwindled and became rangers. The axe stayed in the family. It's up to you if you want to like name it. You can take a second to think about that. No pressure to come up with something right now.
I would love to name it, but there's so many languages in this lore. I wouldn't know. I could come up with a name, but it probably already means something.
Well, you can always give like a common.
I'll name it Death Eater. I guess that's already a thing, isn't it?
I love when someone's
Lord of the Rings
mind is
thing,
like,
though, right?
don't.
It's a Harry Potter.
That's a Harry Potter thing.
Yeah,
it's the Ku Klux Klan of Harry Potter.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
Oh boy.
I don't know Harry Potter very well. Okay, it's called the Bane. I'm just trying to go based off of. I'll give it a name later. Let's just say.
Yeah, that's great. Take a second to think about it. That was the perfect example of your brain being like, don't come up with something that someone's already invented, and then went right to
That's great.
I love you, Justin.
Oh boy.
I should have checked with you before we started. Okay, so you're kind of like brandishing your axe, getting it ready in your hands.
Yeah. It's called Death's Kiss.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's kind of sexy.
Yeah, it's a sexy axe. It's Tolkien's first sexy axe.
And so you probably like turn and see Lindir like stepping away from this tree that like isn't even appearing to be moving, all that visibly. You see, it's the roots that they were gathering around her.
Swaying, yes, I see that.
No, but beneath, at the bottom, the roots they're moving there. I don't know if it's. I wonder if it can speak to us, or hear us. You heard it speaking to you.
Yes, and if I may, I don't know if they can understand us, but I certainly think that you all have heard stories of the living trees in the woods around here, haven't you? If I have, certainly you three have.
Strangely, I think you might have heard the most of, being a hobbit, of course, who has been brought up to be afraid of the old forest. You probably are the only one who's really heard these stories.
Well, they say that the trees that they move and shift just like we've seen this one do, and I did hear whispers. I don't know that if it means us ill or what, but I also don't know if it's a threat, if we need to resort to chopping it down.
I lower my axe.
By the way, in Elvish, Death's Kiss would be roughly translated as Nurnendil.
Yes.
Ooh. Nice. Very cool.
There are very few fantasy IPs where you can just Google it and find out.
Yeah, that's pretty fabulous. Is our sleeper, is Elonara still unconscious?
Yes.
Huh.
Lindir, what is happening here?
I'm not sure. It seems that the tree is... that there is some enchantment in the forest. As you've said, it must be the power of the trees. What do the stories say that... do the stories have a sense of what the trees want?
What does any tree want other than water and the sunlight? And I can't rightfully say. That's not really what the stories say. It's more of a cautionary tale to stay out of the woods.
Yeah, the stories do say the cause was that the Bucklanders came in here a while back, and because the forest was encroaching rapidly against the town, they came in and burned about a 1 mile tract going all the way from north to south along the edge of the village. And the trees ever since then have been extremely malevolent.
And if it is violence that has begotten this enchantment, then we should not continue it with more violence.
Perhaps it's best we just keep moving.
As this is happening, you see maybe like 60 feet down through the trees, a huge elm tree bough just suddenly go and whip across the path that you had been following, and you hear a cry of a person. Oh!
Stay close,
and
I'll rush
then suddenly,
that
like
direction.
maybe 3 other voices start shouting in the Harad dialect.
Oh.
I'll immediately look to Rowan and say, "Keep yourself hidden, but follow us. We're going to get closer."
All right, we'll do.
I'll follow Cynewen, and I'll with strength, not indicated by slim form, I'll sort of carry Elonara sort of through the woods, following.
Yeah, I'll try to stay quiet enough, because I guess when I hear that Haradrim voice. Haradrim voice.
Haradrim. Rim just being the plural form of
right.
Harad from Harad. Haradrim. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Do you think that we've gotten off of our horses and pony?
Yeah, you probably would have been leading them through the forest.
Great. I think I might. I look around at the trees really quick, and this could be a bad idea, but I don't want them to run off. So I tie all of their leads to a branch really quickly, and then very silently chase after my companions.
Awesome.
Great. You can see that there's a bit of smoke wafting through the trees as you get closer to the area, and you can see that currently there is a second elm tree which is on fire. They've built a fire against it, and it's just sort of like blazing up. Large boughs that have been hacked off of the tree itself were placed against the bottom, and then tinder probably used to light it. So the tree is on fire. The figures that you see that are somehow involved in this are wearing mostly like scarlet-colored cloaks. They have similar tattoos in various places to the person that you saw at the Prancing Pony. And likewise, like fairly dark brown skin. But they seem to be fighting against each other as well as fighting against a tree. Several of them look very like weather-beaten, like they've been maybe traveling through the forest for a while, whereas the others look like to be another group that has like caught up to them. And you can see a little, probably like a dinghy or something that was lowered from a larger vessel that's against the shore of the creek. And they currently are fighting with blades. It's up to you how you want to approach. Generally speaking, with combat, like you'll get a certain number of rounds where you can do volleys before you close the distance and fight. If you don't want to fight, though, we certainly haven't quite gotten to that point yet. So it's up to you.
Cynewen, you are the one who can speak Harad, yes?
A bit. Yes.
Are you able to understand? Are they arguing at all? Are you able to understand the nature of their combat?
Let me listen.
Yeah, make your choice of a scan or an awareness. You could even do insight if that's something that interests you. To sort of interpret the scene that you're seeing.
Let's go for awareness. I got 1d12 and 2d6. Just gonna make it. I got a 6, a 5, and a 4. So that's gonna beat my 12.
Okay, very nice.
Wow.
Well, 12 is
nice.
so low. That's so awesome.
That's amazing.
Okay, as you kind of spring forward with your axe in hand, you look around, you survey the scene, squinting. You're kind of able to discern. You believe that these weather-beaten group of Haradrim probably are refugees. They seem like they're only very scantily armed. The people who have come upon them on the boat are likely some kind of like trackers or hunters. They're lightly armored, but their weapons look very fell indeed. You can actually see there's someone standing back by the boat with a bow drawn, trying to choose a target right as you approach. And the refugees are outnumbered, but the trees seem to be on the side of the people who have overtaken them. The elm tree, like, again, lifts one big branch and then lands it on top of the head of one of the Haradrim.
With that, I will turn to Lindir and Rowan and say, they are weary refugees like the stranger from before. Take out the ones on the boat, and then I'll rush towards the refugees, or I'm calling them refugees now, and I'm just charging into battle.
Okay, great. Before we jump full into battle, Elonara is still lying unconscious underneath the boughs of the willow tree.
Oh no, they picked me up.
We moved.
Oh, they picked you up.
Yeah.
So who's carrying her then?
Lindir,
Okay. So Lindir, what are you gonna do?
I was thinking of laying her down by the tree and I like the sort of patting gently didn't necessarily work. I was gonna go full fairy tale and just give her a big old kiss, but I don't know what's gonna be the best move here. If there's maybe any lore I should gauge here, to try and wake her.
You had done previously a check to see what you could discern about the tree.
Something? Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to have smelling salts as a useful item, generally speaking, I think the game intends for useful items to show up during character creation, but since we're kind of jumping in for a one shot, I'm allowing us to say in retrospective that you have that. So that's great. So you can pull out your smelling salts.
Yeah,
and
something really pungent. Yeah.
Yeah, that works, and that wakes her.
Ugh.
Are you all right?
Well, this isn't a position I thought I'd find myself in again.
You wake to the sound of weapons clanging.
Yeah, a freaking arrow strikes the tree by my head.
Yeah, fire crackling.
What did I miss?
Much time for jokes. Well, there was trees, and apparently the trees are alive and a bit cantankerous. There are also Haradrim, several who seem to be on the side of our friend who was warning us about the sorcerer, and then others who have come to kill them, and then there are trees that are trying to kill really anyone, but it seems the people who we might want to keep alive. How are you feeling?
Just in the background.
I take out my bow and I say, who should I shoot?
The ones on the boat. Is that right? The ones on the boat.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
And obviously they're not all on the boat, but you get the sense of who has just come from the boat.
Okay.
Yes.
How about Rowan?
While the fighting is happening, since I don't really think I'm going to be very effective hopping into all of that, I'd like to see if I can see some sort of buckets near the boat or something, and while this is happening, sneak around to the water, fill up a bucket, run back, and try and put out the fire. Knowing that these trees, knowing what I know about the trees and their history, I think that's maybe going to help us. So I want to try and put the fire out.
Cool. All right, so we'll have you be doing that during this sort of opening volley of the fight. And let's see. Trying to think. In terms of how like the turn order goes, I'm sure the game has an initiative system. I don't recall it off the top of my head. So let me look that up. And while I'm looking that up, I'll just say that if you want to hang back in a stance that is like more defensive, rearward stance, then you can make ranged attacks. Otherwise, you're probably taking a stance that's going to be like charging in. There is a list of stances in our little virtual tabletop here. I've got this list. I should name it stances. So if you want to take a look at those, that'll give you an idea of what you can do charging in. It's a little bit of a weird case because you're like coming in on other people fighting. This is like the Battle of Five Armies in Microcosm, but let me quickly look up how this like who goes when. So all players resolve their actions in stance order. Okay. With player heroes in forward stance going first. So that's like your kind of way to decide how you want to approach and like how you want to organize your turn order.
Quick question.
So anyone interested in... Yeah, go ahead with
Do
your
you
question.
choose a stance every round, or is it like that's your stance for the whole battle?
You can change your stance, yeah.
Okay.
And is it possible that you had mentioned that the possibility of a volley round, could it be possible that we could have like slightly pulled on the timing there so that we could at least get a round or two of arrow shot in before Cynewen charges in?
Yeah, so absolutely. That is probably strategically correct. And I guess, Cynewen, you would know that, I think, because you have a pretty high battle rating. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, I have a 4.
Very nice. Yeah, so you are excellent at this. You would know to hang back and participate in the volley before you go charging in.
Right.
All right, so who would like to make volley attacks? Now, ranged weapons would include like bows and some spears. Unless it's a great spear, you can throw it. But you're limited, obviously, to the spear that you've got. Normally, characters don't carry more than one spear.
Can I be rearward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think you even have a special thing, right, with your archery?
I have deadly archery. While in rearward stance using a bow, prepare shot as a secondary action.
Yeah, that's very nice. So I'll explain exactly what that means in 1 second. Okay.
I'll also shoot a bow, and I'll take, I think whatever was open stance. Yeah, open stance, I think. Well, or wait, am I that close? I mean, can I make a shot and then engage?
Yeah, you would do your opening volleys before you choose your stance.
Great. Okay, cool. Great.
So, usually the players start with their volleys. So go ahead and everyone, whoever is making a volley with a ranged weapon, go ahead and make it. You're basically within range of these people, enough to do your volleys. So you don't have to worry too much about like counting distance and things like that.
So
how do we make a volley?
So you would roll similar to a skill test, but in this case you are rolling the weapon. So whatever your weapon
Combat
rating is. Yeah,
Is
that's
that
your combat.
The damage, edge, injury, load, and note, which...
If you look just above that to the left, your weapons are listed there.
Thank you.
So your proficiencies kind of determine how good you are with your weapons.
Okay.
In your case, Emma, you've got 3 on a bow, so you could roll 3 d6s. And I believe you always roll the, what do you call it? The feat die, which is the d12.
Well...
Do you have a question, Justin?
Just a request.
Yeah.
I have 3 ratings in swords, but since my main weapon is an axe, could that have been an axe instead? Could my ratings have been an axe?
Yeah, that might have been a typo when I made up the pre-gens.
No worries.
It definitely was. Okay, yep, just pretend that's in axe.
Thanks. I'm using a
My
bow
bead.
regardless right now. I retconned what I was doing earlier. I was gonna charge forward, and then I thought, wait a second, I should just volley first.
Yeah, I know the combat here it's just a little bit different, a little more like story driven. So don't worry too much about the crunch.
And what number do we need to beat here?
I think it's always your strength.
No,
target?
in this case, you're going against their parry ability.
Oh, so we don't know what their parry is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're wearing
rolled,
like light armor though, so.
I rolled 14.
I rolled 18.
I got 17.
Okay. Pardon me, just flipping through my PDF here.
I'm just feeling the music.
It's driving you to action.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Justin. Hey.
All right. So you are trying to roll a. Okay, 14 will succeed. Anyone else doing a volley?
I did 17 and 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
17 and 18? Okay,
Yeah.
so all of you strike with your weapons. It sounded like, is it 3 bows?
Yeah.
3 bows, yeah.
Okay, very cool. So read me off your, I don't think it's gonna take, let's see, is each of you doing a volley against a different opponent?
I'm going for the one who was raising the bow trying to shoot the refugees. There was one who was like in the act of notching.
Love
He
it.
probably got off a shot before I went, but
I would be going for whichever was closest to the victims.
Okay,
I'm aiming for whoever's in the boat because I was told to shoot people in the boat.
okay, love it. Great, yeah, so you got 3 different targets. Does anyone have a damage value of less than 16 on your weapon?
Damage value of less than 16. Yes.
my damage value appears to be 4.
I'm sorry, it should be,
Less than 16.
Your injury?
I see injury, yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at injury, sorry.
Yeah,
Mine is
16
not.
injury.
Mine is higher.
Okay,
Mine is 16 as
2.
well.
Mine is 8.
very nice.
Oh, you were a good archer, Elonara.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just referencing these rules here.
Heck yeah.
The arrows fly toward the enemies. There's one in the boat who is readying weapons. There's one who's loosing an arrow toward the refugees, and there's another who's doing a melee attack against the refugees. And so you're able to target those 3. I see. Yeah. So you're looking at your strength target number. That's the big number in your strength thing, and then it's modified by the parry rating of the enemy. In this case, it's a +2.
Okay.
So what you want is your strength +2, and you want to roll higher than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. That's a miss from
Did
me.
it- Oh no. Okay.
That's all right.
If it meets, does it beat?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So target number is the TN there, and that means that's the target. That's what you're trying to roll.
I hit.
Okay, so it inflicts damage on the target in the form of an endurance loss. So the target has like an amount of endurance, which in this case is the 16 I mentioned. So each of you deals your damage. Go ahead and let me know, the 2 of you who hit, what your damage is.
4 damage to the one melee attacking.
Okay,
And same, 4 damage with the great bow.
excellent. All right. You may inflict additional special damage types based on the quality of success of the roll. Okay, did anyone roll 6s?
No.
Okay, great. So that'll be the first volley. There is one who's doing a ranged attack. Since you missed, is it Lindir? You missed against the one
Yes,
who was
that's correct.
using the arrow. They get their arrow off, and it strikes one of the refugees, wounding him somewhat. Then the person looks over at you, looks down at your arrow, and you hear Cynewen that he says the Harad word for elf and begins to knock a second arrow. At this point, we'll go to our hobbit, who's sneaking around, and you do indeed see a bucket. Go ahead and make a stealth test for me.
Great. So I am favored for stealth, so I get to roll 2d12 and then 3d6 get added to that. Oh, I rolled a 12.
All right.
And a 5 and a 1 and a 2.
Woo!
So I handily beat my target number, and also I did not get any 6s, but I did roll a 12.
Yeah, excellent. So the 12 is the Gandalf rune. You are able to expertly sneak in, grab the bucket completely unnoticed, and you get all the way around to the burning tree with a bucket filled with water. And you wanted to splash it, right, to try and douse the fire? Okay. You douse a large part of the fire very successfully. The tree seems to not necessarily calm down, but at least it's in less danger at the moment. You see some of the roots are actually lifting out of the earth and inching backward, while the limbs are still swinging at our Haradrim friends. Okay, let's do...
I am going to keep doing that, though.
Okay. Now, anyone who wants to close to melee range can do so. Close quarters fighting.
I will. Ouch. I will. I smacked my own head
With your axe.
With my axe, I took my ear off. I will draw Nernendil, and speak to the two elves behind me. They know we're here. Well, obviously they know that, but I'm trying to communicate that they know you're elves. They know you're elves, and then I'm gonna rush forward. Yeah.
Then let us confirm their fears, and I'll step forward, having missed with my bow. So I'm gonna sling it over my back and unsheath a long curved blade. Like
Okay,
a
and
sword.
are these both going to be forward stances? Is that your decision?
I will go. Yes, I will go to a forward stance to try and draw their attention to me and not the victims.
Okay. Other options would be open stance, which just is sort of like even footing between you and your enemies. And as a combat task during that, you can try to rally your comrades. A defensive stance is fighting a little more conservatively, where your enemies roll fewer dice, and your attacks also roll fewer dice. And you can protect companions as a combat task. And then the final stance is rearward, which it sounds like anyone doing ranged combat would. So maybe, is that still Elonara?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
I'll go defensive just so we can play with all these stances because they seem fun to me.
You're getting
Cool.
the sense that Cynewen is a reckless ranger.
Yeah, I love it.
Wreck
Very
It
nice.
Ranger.
Okay, so you'll be first, Cynewen, with your forward stance. Your attack roll gains a die, and then adversaries engage with you when they do their rolls will also gain a die.
And that's a D6, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to just go for the one that's closest.
Yeah, I should say that basically in the combats, you pair off with enemies and you remain engaged with that enemy until the fight is decided.
Oh.
There's not a lot of like moving around and switching targets unless you
Makes sense.
make a concerted effort to do that.
Yeah, well, I will just go to the one that is closest to the victims. Unless there's one closer to me, that would make more sense, I suppose.
Nope, that was the one that you did the range attack against, and so as you close the distance, you can see him turn toward you. He had been like aiming these blows with a very large club or like a cudgel. It's got spikes driven into it, like large iron nails or something, and he turns toward you and is ready. You can see him kind of like square up his stance.
I despise bullies. And let's see. I'm rolling for my sword. I need my axe. Okay. Oh no. I rolled a couple ones on my d6s.
That's okay, actually. The one on the d6 doesn't have an impact on the story.
But I'm worried I'm not going to get high enough. What's his parry? What's his parry modifier?
2.
2, so I need to beat a 14. Okay, I should be okay. And you added the extra die, or you don't do that?
He'll do that on his attacks.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got another 17. Still, not bad.
Okay, very nice. So you'll do your damage, your 4 damage again?
Actually, with the axe, it is 8.
Oh, yes! Okay, so that takes him to 12. You didn't roll any 6s?
I did not roll any 6s.
Okay. And not a 12, obviously. Right. I think you would have mentioned that. Okay, great. So he has taken 12. You think one more blow, and he will be taken down. You hit him with the bow shot, so I guess he has like an arrow sticking out of his knee or something.
Yeah, right.
Like any true Skyrim character.
Yes.
Okay. Next, then we'll go to Lindir with your defensive stance.
Right. So how many? Oh, I'm drunk and blurred. How many people? How many people are we fighting? And how many people are we defending?
There are 6 people you're defending, and you can see 8 attackers. Not all of them have weapons drawn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Emma's cat, which is like fiercely licking its paws.
Yeah.
Her paws, correct?
No, it's a him. You were right.
Oh, it's a him? Okay.
People always think he's a girl. It's fine.
Sorry. I don't know why I thought I remember that. Okay, so yeah, so 8 attackers. However, not all of them have weapons. And same with the defenders. Not all of them have weapons.
Okay.
And that's not to say that like you need to murder every single one of them, but that's the situation.
Yeah. So I'm sort of wondering if there would be value in it, instead of just starting to kill people, if I attempted an awe action to try and frighten individuals or intimidate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how that fits into like the action order.
Yeah. I don't know. However you want to play that, and I don't know if you think it would be better if I just actually fought, or maybe I need to wait for a moment of opportunity.
Okay, so
I was actually wondering the same thing.
There's a little sidebar here. Players can always surprise the lore master by proposing something unusual or unexpected. That is usually a sign that they're enjoying the game. I'll leave that up to you.
It is a sign.
So I will definitely allow this based on this box text here. You can perform the action in 1 round. It should require a die roll.
Okay.
So the clear consequence here will be that if you succeed, you'll be able to either intimidate away some of these folks, but the downside is that if you fail, all 8 will now join the combat against you and ignore the people that they are that you're trying to save.
I like that devil's bargain.
With taking a forward stance, it says combat task intimidate foe. Does that do anything? Do I get to try and intimidate them as well?
Looking to see if there's like an entry where it explains that?
Yeah, or does that like add that as a possible action?
Okay, yeah. So you make an awe roll as the main action for the round. The roll is modified by the might rating of the adversary with the highest score. And you lose 1 die for each point of might that they have. And that's for a forward stance. So if I don't know if this makes sense and it gets you what you want, Ted, but like one thing you could do is let Justin do that as his combat task, and you could aid him.
Sure.
Or otherwise, you could take a forward stance and do the same. That way, you can attack and do it.
Yeah, I like that. I like aiding. Yeah. That's sweet.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like rob your thing.
No, not at all. I love that. I think that's fabulous. Yeah, so I'll spend a hope, and then you get. If you're, am I adding my awe skills to it? Great. So you get 3 additional dice.
And I'm rolling for awe as well.
Yep, because this would be your like combat task.
Okay.
Cool.
So
Which
I
you get to
am
do
also
in addition to
favored
your-
in awe.
Very
So-
cool.
Heck yeah.
We have these 2 awesome
And
characters.
what am I beating? My normal 12.
Yeah, it's your normal 12, and then I am going to add. Sorry, I'm just referencing this. You lose 1 die, sorry, for each point of might. Let me quickly look that up. Okay. Might 1. So you're gonna roll 1 less die.
Okay.
Just get 2 plus from me instead of 3.
All right, and I choose which 12 I want to use. I did get 1 6 on a d6 for
Nice.
a total of 23.
Okay, great. And that's, I assume, higher than your strength target number is like 12 or
12,
something.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. You succeed so well, actually, that most of the Southrons turn and flee. Just like out into the woods.
Can I add some flavor to this?
Sure.
I think Lindir steps forward out of the trees, throwing back his cloak and revealing the sort of glowing, livery of his house, and cries out the cry of Fingon, Utulie unaure, which means the day has come.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
So, that's also echoing a famous battle where men and elves fought alongside one another. So,
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it.
Rearward,
Okay.
Elonara is just like,
So now, Ted, Lindir, you can go ahead and make
Yes.
your attack.
Wonderful.
There are 3 who have stood their ground.
yes, and I will
So
close.
5 have fled, 3 are remaining.
I'll close ranks with my Grievous sword. I'm gonna roll another d12 because I'm.
Are you attacking the one that had been attacked by Cynewen?
Yep, same one. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that would be the right
Great.
move there. So that's gonna be. Sorry. Let's do that. Okay, so that's gonna be 10, 18. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, and if their parry value is 2 plus my strength, that would be 17, so I beat it by 1.
Okay. Excellent.
And dealing 6 damage from the long sword.
All
I
right.
don't know if Grievous affects it any other way.
That the Grievous is already factored in
Built
on
in.
the character
Great.
sheet. Yep.
Lovely.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? How would you like to end that character's fight?
Oh, can I can choose not to kill them in the process?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Then I'll simply we're fighting and probably like trying to do this well with Cynewen. We're sort of like doing this fight together, and the axes parrying against these blows. And the Southron's doing pretty well until I come in and like spin the sword out of or like halberd or whatever out of their hands, and it like lands on the leaves nearby, and I kick the Southron to the ground, hold my sword down, and sort of let them scramble away into the woods.
Perfect. Okay. And I believe that we'll count your combat task as the aiding. That'll bring us to Elonara.
is there still anyone I can aim my bow at?
Yes, there are 2 more.
All right, I would like to shoot again and try to take down another one of those people on the boat.
You had, I think, hit one previously. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go for the same one?
Yes.
Love it.
Okay. I'm gonna roll. I got a 13. Rolling my 3d6s for my bow.
Okay, what is your strength target number?
My strength target number is 16.
Okay.
Do I roll anything else other than the 3d6?
Yeah, the D12.
Ah,
Yeah, sorry. It's for some reason on the character sheet, because you can't be favored with the weapon, it doesn't show the D12.
okay.
But you always roll it, yeah.
Well, I got a 5 on that, so that brings me up past my 16.
Okay, excellent. I just wanted to check one more thing with your rearward stance. Oh, you can prepare a shot as well, and you can do that. Your special ability is to do that as a secondary action.
Then I do that too.
Okay, sorry, just looking up what that means. What's the damage that you've done?
To that original person, I already did 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then if this hits, I will do 4 damage again.
Okay, great. So 8 will once again harm this fellow. Sorry, just looking up the stance descriptions.
You're good. I think Elonara is trying to, maybe feeling a little bit competitive, seeing that Lindir is has just done this kind of epic scene, and so she's trying to maybe impress her companions a little bit, prove her mettle.
Love it. Okay, here it is. So prepare a shot. Great, so you can make a scan roll as your combat task, and that will allow you to add additional dice for every success. That means that if you roll 6s, you gain additional successes to add additional dice.
Okay, I have 1 scan, so I roll 1d6 and just see what it is.
And a d12.
And a d12. Okay, well the d6 was a 3, and the d12 is a 7.
Okay, so 10 will be short of your target number for wits on a scan roll.
Yes.
So, trying to, for some reason, isn't quite adding up for me in terms of how your special ability helps you here, because you have a special thing that you're a deadly archer.
Yeah. Does it mean I get to it doesn't sound like I hit twice. It just says prepare a second.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is give you 1 automatic success on this, just for now, to move us forward. Okay. So you'll get to roll 1 additional die on your next range attack.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. So you've done damage, you've prepared your next shot, and then let's move back to Rowan. So you've doused the fire around the tree. Do you want to keep doing that?
You did. You said that the tree looks less in danger right now, correct? You said that there's refugees who aren't fighting.
Yeah.
Could I perhaps do something like persuasion or something? I want to get the refugees who aren't fighting to kind of follow me away from the tree, because I think I see that it appears to be reacting in pain and panic and not necessarily.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that works. Do a persuasion test.
Great. It's just a 12 into 6. That is 6 plus 3 is 9 plus 4. Ooh, darn it. That's only a 13, so it does not meet my target number.
Okay.
Is there...
So...
I can only give hope on my turn. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. In this case, you're engaged in the fight. So, unfortunately, as you try to speak with them, the refugees can't understand the words you're using, and your body language is not quite friendly enough to get them to believe. They just see you gesticulating, and you see them kind of look afraid, look up at the tree, and actually one of them dodges a blow as one of the limbs of the tree again hits the dirt beside them, and you see them starting to look like they want to flee, including fleeing from you. So that'll be now. I will allow you, if you wanted to, Rowan. You could also make an attack against someone, only because what you did sounds to me like a combat task as opposed to like a full.
Awesome. Cool. I don't want to run up and get into combat, but I think what I'm going to do is see how this works. I'm favored with throwing stones, so I think I'm just gonna see. Probably you said there's a couple left. Like probably whoever's in close combat with Lindir. Pick up like a big rock and or like a nice stone and just huck it at
like only hobbits can do. So you're gonna roll 2d12, keep the better result, and then you're also gonna roll whatever your highest combat proficiency is.
Oh, nice, great.
In d6s. That's because stones they're like considered an unarmed attack or a brawling attack, and so you just roll whatever your highest is. It's kind of like because it's such a simple weapon.
Awesome, that's fine. I got 2 9s on my d12s, but that's ooh, nice. I also got a 6 on my d6, so that's a total of 10. I got a 24 on that thrown stone.
Woo!
My target number is pretty high, but I think that if he's still just adding +2, I would beat that because that would be 20 for me. So
yeah,
a 24 should do it, and I did get a 6 on that stone throw.
Okay, excellent. So the 6 turns that into a piercing blow.
Never mind. Sorry, if I got a 12, it would have been a piercing blow, but I get a piercing blow anyway. Yay!
Yeah. So with the piercing blow, you're going to wound them.
Great.
And we'll say that I think you can finish off that person who is next. Because you did what was the damage again?
It's only 1 damage.
It's 1 damage,
stone,
but then the wound. I think it does the extra 12 damage from the piercing blow. Nice. I could confirm this, but I also don't want to like spend too much time with everyone watching me being like, looking through the PDF. So we're gonna say that that person then is damaged 13. So it's actually not quite enough to take them down. But you can see the rest of you see this rock sail out of nowhere and just hit this Harad assailant in the forehead, and he's like clearly concussed, eyes rolling back. Well done. All right, let's go back to combat stances. If anyone wants to shift their stance, oh, sorry, we gotta have the enemies attack.
Yeah.
Do we?
Bring it.
Okay, so we're gonna get 1 ranged attack against Elonara, and then a melee attack against Cynewen and Lindir each.
The one against me gets an extra die.
That's right. Thank you.
I think 1 less for me because I'm in defensive.
Nice. All right. Okay, so it's only going to be 1d6 for the first one against Lindir. That he did roll a 6, however. So that's a 12, but that probably will miss your parry, right?
The parry's 18, yeah.
Okay, so the cudgel comes singing toward you. How do you dodge it, or?
Yeah, I imagine that, like, sort of like tap it lightly and sort of like let the momentum carry him a bit away from me, sort of like stepping back, dancing around a little bit.
Awesome. And then, even though it's much more dice, the attack against Cynewen also misses, I'm assuming, because it's 8.
Yeah.
Pulled a lot of low numbers. 17. Very nice. So they are like feebly attempting to attack you. And then there's a third one who's going to do a ranged attack. Now, this attack is a bow. So that's going to be 2 dice. Ooh, whoa. Okay, so this is like so classic, Emma. I'm so sorry. I feel like you're a magnet for this kind of thing. I rolled 2 6s and an 11. But the 11 is actually
bad thing.
Yeah, it's not the number 11. It is the Eye of Sauron. result, which means that this automatically fails.
Even for an enemy?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
basically
critical fail,
counts,
no
as,
matter who you
counts
are.
as a 0.
Sauron don't care.
Yeah.
So what is your parry value?
19.
Okay, yeah. So really pathetically, this arrow shot goes to like line up. It looks very well lined up, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you see one of the trees that's along the bank next to the boat suddenly just hits this guy in the back of the head and will finish the damage. He only had like 3 endurance left to take as damage. So he takes this huge club to the back of the head and falls flat on his face in the bank of the creek.
Nice.
Okay. So that brings us now back to combat stances. What would everyone like to do? You could keep your stance. You can shift it.
I'm good.
I'm going to shift to an open stance with the hope of rallying my comrades, and I have a question for you on that.
Sure. Yeah. What's your question?
I'm sure there's some actual game mechanic of rallying comrades, but I was hoping I could use it as kind of a trying to convince the refugees to like get up and go, you know, like kind of maybe follow Rowan.
Okay. Cool.
Since I speak a bit.
Look that up.
Haradrim.
Yeah.
I said it right that time.
Okay, so rally comrades. Where are you, kid? There it is. Okay, so you can make an enhearten roll as the main action for the round, in addition to your attack.
Okay. All right.
Not so hot?
No, it's gonna be real bad. I think it's actually impossible for me to get.
Oh no! The benefit is that the members of the company fighting in a forward stance gain 1 additional die on their next attack roll. And then the ones in the open fighting in open stance gain the same bonus, and if the roll produces 2 successes, all player heroes fighting in a close combat stance also get that. So it's more of a group thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like what you want to do is more like the persuade check that Rowan tried. So if you'd rather do persuade, I think that will just be its own kind of action.
Okay.
So it won't be dependent on your stance.
Let's do that.
It might... yeah, you could do that in addition to attacking. I would just say you can't do it with a forward stance. Because forward is like so reckless and intimidating, I think it would kind of obviate.
Sure. I will keep an open stance, or I will shift to an open stance and then try to do that whenever.
Perfect. Is anyone in forward?
I want to move into forward.
Okay, cool. And then a rearward for Elonara. How about Rowan?
I think if the goal, it sounds like, is that we might joint effort be able to actually like guide some of the refugees away from the tree and to sort of hide away from things. I'll keep working on that with Justin. With Cynewen. I can't help. I don't have help actions, but I'll keep trying to do that and then sort of see how the battle goes. I'm also still interested in putting this tree out.
Very nice.
Throwing water on it still, so.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll start then with Lindir.
Yes. Am I still audible? I had a weird thing there.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yes, so I'll step forward more aggressively now, doing a little like flourish with my sword, more like not trying to show off, just sort of like subconsciously getting in the zone, and then we'll make an attack against the closest foe.
Cool.
Let's see, and I get an additional die because I'm in the aggressive stance. 6, 18. Oh, I got 2 6s on my dice there. And then another 1. So I definitely succeed at the hit and also have 2 6s in the process.
Okay. Well done. So that is a serious blow. This was against the one. There was, I guess, there's only enemy left, right?
Yeah, I think there's only the one. Yeah.
And I think he's uninjured.
Okay.
So he'll take. What's your? Is it injury rating?
Yeah, so the injury rate is 16/18, and the damage is 6.
Yeah, are you doing it one-handed or two-handed?
Two-handed.
Okay, then
Right,
it's 18.
Let's say I moved to that for the aggressive.
Yeah. All right, you just hack straight through this last enemy. Or I guess you had allowed them to escape, so maybe you don't need to.
Let's say maybe he was like being particular, like had just like killed one of the refugees or had been particularly cruel, and I just like taken down in a single like, swift, not about pain, but just about
nice.
taking down.
Okay. So that'll bring us to I guess Cynewen. Except there's no more enemies left. So is there something else you want to try?
So what's the deal with this tree? Is it still attacking these people?
Yeah, it is. Although it seems to have like mostly been put out, and then the people are getting ready to flee. So it's probably not going to be a threat to them for long.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I want them to flee, but I want them to flee orderly with us. So
okay.
I'm still going to try to do that persuasion roll, as I say in a broken Haradrim. Allies of the South, we are not here to harm you. We will help you and hope that you can provide answers for us in the same way that we can for you. Come with me. Come with the Hobbit. She's braver than she looks.
Okay, I'm going to allow this roll to be favored. I don't know if you're already favored with persuasion, but because you speak their language. They seem very taken aback by that.
Woo. Great. Okay. Okay. What happens if I meet my...
Then you succeed.
That does succeed.
Yeah.
It's a close one. Okay, I just got a 16, barely.
Okay. With that in mind, they kind of flock towards you and immediately start asking you questions. The first thing they say is, where is the heart of the scorpion? And then another one says, have you come from lands to the north? Do you have safe passage to grant us?
Let's remove ourselves from this situation first. Looking at like the tree and all the craziness.
Yeah. Another one says, the damn trees are killing us.
And I'll just point to Rowan and I'll say, follow the little one. We'll bring up the rear.
Okay. Excellent. That is a resounding success.
Uh-oh.
Graham, come back!
Sauron froze our lore
Oh, there he
master.
is.
Oh, there he is.
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Back.
I was asking,
No!
That's so funny.
Freaking freeze.
Oh no.
While Graham is frozen, I'm gonna come join you guys.
Okay, yeah, sure. Graham,
sorry about that.
you
Am I
froze.
back?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
froze in the exact
Sauron is
same
moving. Wow. Yeah, my internet. It's telling me my internet's a little unstable, but
Oh.
that's okay. We'll
We'll do something.
We'll do something.
Power through.
So,
somebody
Elonara,
does need to put the fire out still.
Elonara
We'll
comes
help put the
down.
fire out.
Yes. We'll finish
Thank you,
all
tree, for helping me.
Graham, dropping out of Roll20 may help you out, but I know then you can't control the music, so we can just loop this one though. It's heroic enough.
that. Yeah.
Okay, how we doing?
We can
You're
hear you
good.
now.
Okay, good. Sorry,
You freeze
I'm
every
trying
now
to
and
trying to get everyone in the house to stop using the internet. Hopefully that'll
Yeah.
save us.
Stop it. Playing a game.
Okay, so I think we have
Dang it. Here, I'm gonna chat with him. You guys.
Well, Lindir,
yeah.
that was impressive.
Let's cut to a quick break real quick. I know we're kind of nearing the latter half, or well, we're definitely in the latter half of this adventure, but let's cut to a quick break and see if we can get Graham back online here. Everybody just hold tight for us for a second. We'll be right back.
That's cool.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Jean, you can move to your slight right. Yeah, there you go. So, as you can see, we have no Graham with us. He was having technical issues and just couldn't get back on. We tried hard, but, you know, Sauron's eye was looking upon us all.
Him. Yep. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do here is, that's what you get for live. That's what you get for live, baby. Emma, you're good where you were. You can go back.
I know, I'm just having fun.
Oh.
I wanted to see if I could show up in someone else's.
Gotcha. So I have a little message from Graham that he will use to wrap up this session. We will say this. This just means we're gonna have to come back for another session. So we hope that is what you all want to hear. We're certainly excited to be able to come back and continue onward. But from Graham. Once we rescue the refugees, kind of leading them out of this immediate danger, they inform the four of us that there is indeed a sorcerer named, I wrote this quickly, the Heart of the Scorpion. They call this sorcerer the Heart of the Scorpion, that is chasing them. And this sorcerer works for the great chieftain of Harad, the one that seems to be creating political nightmares for everyone. And they also inform us that there are at least 30 other Harad refugees scattered around the Riverlands. And with them, they carry a great weapon of Harad. So, with that knowledge, do we want to just maybe, like, say something individually about our characters, kind of like to end this chapter of our adventure? Anybody have any thoughts so far?
I feel like Lindir would spend some time going over the bodies and helping the refugees get situated, you know, in his role with the camp and everything. But would just become very sort of thoughtful, realizing the scope of what they might potentially be facing come the next step of their journey.
I think that Elonara would assist by offering aid, medical attention to anyone who is wounded. Now that we're involved, I believe that we should see this through, and we should make sure that we find all of the other refugees before someone nefarious does.
I think Rowan is very, very invested in continuing with her new comrades and facing this danger, and is surprised by some of her own courage. But she's also a little bit of a glimmer of greediness is in her eye as she hears about this great weapon. She doesn't want the weapon exactly, but the promise of a great weapon could potentially mean that there's other treasure to be found, and that, after all, is really what she's out here for and wants to find. So she's now even feeling more committed, that she wants to be a good person and help out, and she likes these people that she has found, but this is also her chance to really find something exciting. So,
and I think as you have those thoughts, you feel maybe a hand on your shoulder. You see Cynewen there. I'll admit I was wrong about you, little one. You showed great bravery back there, and I'm glad to have you by my side.
Again, we're remembering hospitality, hobbit courtesy. I do another little curtsy. Thank you, milady. It's been an honor. I'm very proud and happy to be here.
And then, nodding there, turned to the refugees in Harad, saying, "We will help you, and we will find you a home where you won't be in danger." And for the four of us, I think, get ready for the next chapter, next leg of this adventure. So, woohoo! Okay, not bad without a lore master.
Great work, Justin.
Good job, everybody. So, hey, if you've been watching this whole time, we really appreciate you. Especially, thank you for sticking with us through the bit of technical difficulties there. On behalf of Graham, I know that we all are thrilled to have done this for Hobbit Day, and I know that we're all thrilled to come back and do it another time as well. So, no idea when that'll be. Keep a lookout. If you're watching and you haven't followed the channel, go ahead and do that just so that you don't miss the next chapter. We'll try to get it out sooner than later, but schedules and whatnot. So also follow us on social media. That way, we'll post about it when it's coming. So anything else, y'all? Tune into our next show, Ghostlight RPGs. Our next show is the continuing adventures of some wild characters in the Tales of the Public Domain on Friday nights at 7:30 Central. And more surprises coming in. I promise I'm going to update the right schedule next time, so that's going to happen. All right. Well, until next time, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful evening. Happy Hobbit Day to you all. Goodbye.